All right, hello and welcome. Today we're going on a bit of a quest, and our goal here is to turn you into a full-fledged data guardian, someone who's ready to protect one of the most valuable things in any business, personal data. Okay, let's kick things off with something I'm pretty sure we've all felt. That heart in your throat, cold sweat moment when you accidentally hit reply all on an email. You know the one I'm talking about, right? Well, let's take that feeling and turn it all the way up to 11. Because it's the perfect way to understand why this stuff is so important.
So just imagine for a second, it's not just some embarrassing comment you sent to the whole office. Imagine you've just sent the entire company payroll file to everyone. Every single salary, every bonus, just out there. See? That's how a simple mistake turns into a massive data disaster. And that is what we are here to stop from ever happening.
Okay, let's dive right into our first section, the Guardian's Code. The big idea here is that it's not enough to just do the right thing, you have to be able to prove you're doing the right thing. And that brings us to the number one rule in your new handbook, accountability.
So what exactly is accountability? Well, under GDPR, that's the General Data Protection Regulation, it's basically a two-part mission. You can't just follow the rules, you also have to be able to show, with evidence, that you're following them. You know, it's the difference between telling your boss the report is done and actually handing them the finished report. You gotta have the receipts.
So how do you actually get that proof? Well, it's an ongoing job. First up, you document absolutely everything. You need a paper trail for how you handle data. Second, you train your team, which, hey, is exactly what we're doing right now. You might also get a specialist involved, a data protection officer or DPO. And finally, you're always on the lookout for risks, using things like impact assessments to find weak spots. It's not a one-and-done thing, it's a constant checklist.
Okay, so you've got the code, you've got the rules, but a rulebook is pretty useless if you don't have walls to protect what's inside. So that brings us to Section 2, building your data fortress. This is all about shielding that precious data from all the digital dragons out there trying to get at it.
And every good fortress needs a toolkit. We're talking encryption, which is basically like scrambling your data into a secret code. You need access controls. Think of it like a super strict bouncer at a club. Your name's not on the list, you're not getting in. You've got to do regular audits to check for cracks in the walls, and of course, staff training, because you guys are the first line of defense. Oh, and backup systems. That's your magic undo button when things go wrong.
And this, right here, this is what it all boils down to. Are you building a fortress or a leaky old shed? A fortress encrypts everything. A shed just leaves data out in the open. A fortress gives people access only to what they need. A shed has one shared login for everyone, and the password is probably password 123. It's these simple, everyday choices that make all the difference.
But look, let's be real. Even the best fortress can get a crack in the wall. Sometimes a sneaky dragon gets through. So, what then? The number one rule is don't panic. It's time to kick off Section 3, the Code Red Protocol. This is your step-by-step guide for what to do when those alarms start blaring. And the absolute most critical thing to remember here is the clock. It is ticking. The second a breach is discovered, a 72-hour countdown begins. That's it. 3 days. In that time, you have to figure out what happened, figure out how bad it is, and if it's a serious risk, you have to tell the Information Commissioner's Office, or ICO. No pressure, right? Okay, so here's your emergency playbook. Step 1, tell the ICO if there's a risk. Step 2, if the risk to actual people is high, like their bank details got out, you have to tell them too, directly. Step 3, you investigate and you write down everything. And step 4, and this is so important, you learn from it. You figure out what went wrong and you make your fortress even stronger. It's how you turn a crisis into a controlled response. Which leads us perfectly into our final section, the stakes. Why are we doing all this? Why all the talk about codes and fortresses and protocols? Because, honestly, the consequences of getting this wrong are huge. Not just for the company, but for the real people whose data you're looking after. Let's just start with a number, 17.5 million pounds. That is the maximum fine for a really bad GDPR breach here in the UK. So let that number hang in the air for a second. It's designed to make you pay attention. And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? That little bar on the left, that's what good security might cost. That massive bar on the right, that's the potential fine.
All of a sudden, spending a bit on data protection doesn't really feel like a cost, does it? It feels like one of the smartest investments you can possibly make. But honestly, it's not just about the money. It's about people. Good data handling protects the individuals whose information you hold, and it protects the company you work for. At the end of the day, this is all about trust. When people give you their data, they are trusting you to keep it safe. If you break that trust, the damage to a company's reputation can be way, way worse than any fine. So, after all that, are you ready to be a data guardian? You've got the code for accountability, you've got the toolkit to build your fortress, and you've got the Code Red protocol for when things go wrong. Your quest begins now.